What's up, everybody? My name is Joe Riga, and you're about to listen to episode number 2 of the Third Floor Chronicles. This episode was recorded Sunday, March 20th at the Tampa Improv with special guest Kevin Brown. Alright, everyone, this is Joe Riga. We are on the Third Floor Chronicles episode number 2. This week, our special guest is Kevin Brown. Say hello.
What's up, y'all?
How we doing, Kevin, today? How's the Tampa run been for you so far?
It's going beautiful. Tampa's really showing me a lot of love. They're coming out strong, and we're having a great time.
Cool. When'd you come into town?
I came in Thursday morning. I came in Wednesday night, Thursday morning. About
cool. So
after 12.
Thursday through Sunday shows. Nice.
Yes, sir.
You got one last show tonight, Sunday.
Yes.
Is this your first run in Tampa, Kevin? You've been here before?
Yeah, it's my first time coming out here. It's beautiful.
Where are you going after this?
I go to Sacramento, and I want to name the clubs, but I don't remember which club. And then cool. I go to Tucson, Arizona, believe it or not.
How long is this run, this tour you're on right now?
For the most part, you get into town, you do Thursday through Sunday for the most part, unless there's a special situation. Yeah.
But how long have you been on the road this tour currently?
Oh, I just started. I just started this the beginning of the year. We're still shooting 30 Rock.
Oh, okay.
So as a matter of fact, when I go back tomorrow, I go straight from the airport to the set.
Awesome. That's a cool segue. What's the schedule for 30 Rock?
Well, we finish our season March 25th.
How many episodes was that?
23 episodes.
Nice.
23 episodes, yeah.
Nice.
And then I have like the next 5 months off, something like that.
5. So you're gonna fill up with touring?
Yeah, just going out on the road, doing shows.
Cool. Are you looking to record a special? What's going on with that?
I'm gonna work my way up to that. Now I'm at the point in my career. A lot of people watch 30 Rock. A lot of people know that guy that's on 30rock.com, but they don't know he's a stand-up comic.
Got it.
So I'm going around and I'm letting these clubs know. First of all, I'm letting them know I'm a stand-up comic, but I'm letting them know I'm for real.
Got it.
So, they don't know that if you put me on stage for an hour that I'm going to rock the room for an hour. They don't know that. Cool. Because a lot of comics go up for an hour and they stretch a half hour's worth of material into an hour.
Exactly. How long have you been doing comedy?
April will be 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, April will be 14 years.
And it's funny because you've been doing it 14 years, but a lot of people come to the show, they're like, oh, he's I've never seen this guy before. I know him from 30 Rock.
Right.
That's cool. How did the 30 Rock thing even happen?
Oh, it was an accident. 2006, agent called me, but she was a background agent. She was an extra agent. And she called me to go down for this thing. It wasn't even called 30 Rock at the time. It was called the Tina Fey Unnamed Project.
Nice.
And they were looking for some guys to be part of Tracy Morgan's posse, and that's what the group was called. It was 4 guys, just part of his posse. Didn't even have names. So when she called me down for it, I told her I don't do background work. I don't do extra work. Thank you, but no thank you. And I turned it down. Easy.
Without hesitation?
Without hesitation. I turned it down 3 times. And then finally, she said, could you do me a favor, go down there, you never know what'll happen. And in this game, this business is all about relationships. So since she asked me finally the way she did, I was like, okay.
More for her than for you.
Yeah, I didn't do it for me at all. And I went down there, they picked me, and when they say featured background, that means you're going to get camera time. You don't have any lines, but the camera's going to pick you up. You're going to be seen. So it just so happened they placed me right with Tracy Morgan, who I had known for 11 years.
Just from doing shows.
From the comedy game, yeah. So so when Tracy sees me, we have our happy reunion on the set of the pilot. We're shooting the pilot, first day of shooting. We have our happy reunion.
So the chemistry's already there between you guys.
The chemistry was there, and that's the chemistry that they wanted Tracy to have for his character. His character is very eccentric, very crazy, very loose.
Perfect.
And since we go back so far, like I was there from the beginning of.
And that was coincidental. They didn't know that
just
at
totally
all.
Coincidental.
Cool.
So it worked out. So I think because of that chemistry that we had naturally, it just evolved into, them expanding my character. And when Tracy first introduced me to Tina Fey, he said, "This is my man .com," because back then I used to go by the name of BigKev.com. I had the name .com before I got on 30 Rock. All right. And so when he introduced me that way, the show got picked up, and maybe we had shot, maybe we were on the 2nd episode, and then an AD pulled me to the side, an assistant director pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, I got some good news for you. The the writers like what you do, because even though I didn't have lines, I was still acting. I was still doing, because there's gestures you can make in life, but you don't have to say anything.
Exactly.
And they liked that little stuff that I was doing. So they said they're gonna write you in, you know, from time to time.
That's gotta make you feel pretty good.
It felt great. It felt great. And I was like, does that mean I get more money? And it was like, yeah, a lot more money. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Nice.
And that was 2000.
I hope you got her a nice little gift, the agent that you turned down.
I buy her roses. I tried to marry her, but some guy beat me to it.
That's a cool story, man.
And I wait for that guy to mess up. I tell him whenever I see him. I don't know him. I don't really like him. But I say, if you mess up, I'm standing. You don't want to have a big black guy standing in the wings waiting to take your woman from you. But yeah, I owe her a lot.
How have you noticed the crowds change when you got the credit on 30 Rock on the posters as before when you didn't have it? Was it pretty much instant?
No, it wasn't instant. This is my first time. You know, 30 Rock has been on for 5 seasons. This year is my first time testing the credit. I didn't rush. I'm one of those guys. I'm really patient with the game. So you know, when I first started doing stand up early in my stand-up career, I did Last Comic Standing, maybe season 2 or 3, the year John Heffron won.
How can we stop right there? How did you get involved in that?
In Last Comic Standing?
Yeah, like was the same story?
They did the big cattle call in New York, and you wake up early in the morning, you go stand online with 1,000 other comedians.
Did you want to do it?
Yeah, first? I did that on my own. I did that on my own, and I stood online and auditioned, and but I went there. I went to my first audition. I think I was wearing a tuxedo, full tuxedo.
Okay.
And but I wasn't going there like you see on Last Comic Standing. Some guys go in costume with their clown.
That's just who you were.
Yeah, that's who I was.
Nice.
So I went there in full tuxedo, but that's how I dressed. I was dressed sharp, and they liked that. And then I presented myself as a real comedian, and then they advanced me to the next level.
Who were the judges when you were there for the audition?
Oh man, you know I don't know the judges. The judges
were they celebrity judges? Or just like kind of
it was comedy industry judges.
Got it.
But it was that year John Heffron won. But what I noticed and I brought up Last Comic Standing because that was an example of when comics do Last Comic Standing, you're probably getting your first national exposure, you know, on NBC. So now, you know, I come out here and I put in a lot of work to prepare for this moment. And you can put me on stage now, you can just leave me up there. You don't have to, you know, and I'm gonna get laughs at the beginning of my set, just like I do at the end of my set. And it's all good. With
30 Rock, wasn't it kind of sketchy the first year where they were like kind of saying the ratings were low and they were talking about maybe, was that true that they were thinking about even canceling it that early?
Well, you know what? 30 Rock's ratings were weird. And they still are weird. Because in television, there's a demographic that advertisers love. And 30 Rock just happens to be loved by that demographic. I think it's our biggest demographic is white males 18 to 46 or something like that with 6-figure incomes and higher.
Nice.
So when you find a show that can take you directly to that demographic, and you own a car company, you know, you're selling cars or you're selling whatever that costs money, they like that. So
just a little bit.
Yeah. So somehow we survived all of that, and then we started winning all these Emmys. There was a 3-year period where we were nominated. We broke a record. I think we were nominated for 22 Emmys in one season, which broke our all-time record in television history. So things like that kept us on because the money that wasn't being spent on the promotion and advertising of the show, we got it by being in the news all the time, being, you know, most talked about from getting all these nominations.
When you're an actor on a show like that, how far, like in sports, you sign contracts like 3 years or 5 years. With shows, how does that work? Do you know each year, or is each year up for grabs, or do you sign contracts? How does that work?
It's different for every actor. Me, I was like I said, I wasn't supposed to. I was a guy, like a walk-on player.
Okay.
You know, I didn't get drafted to the team.
Just showed up to practice.
And but there were a lot of people on the cast that got drafted. They got the scholarships. They passed me the ball when they gave me a 10-day contract. And then they basically, but every time they passed me the ball, I scored. I'm a dunk it. It's showtime. I never said this out loud to anybody, but when they pass me the ball, my goal is to steal a scene. That's my goal. You give me one line, you give me a look, you put the camera on me, I'm going to steal the scene. And if you let me steal it, that's not my fault. That's your fault.
I'm sure some people might get a little bit.
Yeah, but they're gonna handle that. They're gonna handle that. You know, but the greatest thing about it is being able to share a camera with Tracy Morgan, Tina Fey, Alec Baldwin. They were always so gracious with me. They would allow me to do, and they would encourage me to do.
Well, how did you feel? Because I'm sure out of them, you had to feel a little bit out of the loop. Like you said, you're a walk-on.
Oh,
how did you feel when you're just kind of on the set with
I'm
all
totally
those
intimidated.
guys?
Totally
Yeah?
intimidated.
But you don't look it, of course.
No, but they do things. They do things to relax you. When the scene's ready to start, they'll come and say, "Hey, how's the family? Hey, you got any kids? Where you from?" And they'll
So it's like strategically kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And big stars don't have to do that on a set. They can be real assholes if they want to be, and you just got to go along with it. But Alec was always really supportive. Tina was always supportive. Tracy was always supportive. And when they want the young guys, and I say young, I mean young in age chronologically. I mean young in the game, but they want us to shine. That helps the show.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't help anyone if you're not looking great.
Yeah. So they were always real supportive, and once they passed me the ball and I started scoring, they kept passing me the ball, and I kept on scoring, and you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. We got a couple questions from some listeners. Is that cool to ask?
Okay.
Got a couple more minutes before we get on stage. Stacy wants to know if Tracy Morgan ever improvises his lines.
Tracy Morgan improvs his lines all the time, but in network television, the writers are the first and the last word. So ultimately, we all will all mess up or change a word here or there, but ultimately, before they wrap that scene, you end up saying the words exactly the way it was written, and they have the option to use it the way it was written, or if you came up with something better, they might change it. So if it's editing room.
So I got it. So are they sitting like offset, like that close watching?
Not offset. There's something called Video Village.
Okay.
It's like around the corner in another room. There's a video camera. They all have headsets, and they're sitting in the director's chairs, and they're watching the scene being executed. And they might send a note through the director to change this word or change that word, but basically it's what's on paper. And you're gonna do it before they're done. You're gonna do it exactly the way it's written, but whatever they do in the editing room is what they do.
Is it one of those things too where you have to kind of earn the right to even improvise? Like you have to be so good at what you already do to where even they let you do it?
Well, you know what? It's not earn the right as far as being good, because we wouldn't be there if we were good.
True.
Everybody's good, but it's sort of like you have to be a producer. Alec Baldwin can change lines because he has a producer.
Got it.
And that's the way the industry works. Producers and directors and writers can change things, but it has to come through. Even a writer, the change has to come through a producer. So Alec Baldwin can change whatever he wants to say. Can I do it this way or whatever?
He's really not asking probably either, right?
Yeah, he's basically stating it. Now, I could say, hey, can I do it this way? And they'll let me try it that way.
See if it works.
But then they'll say, and now give us the one that's written, and then they'll work.
Because if it makes the show better, that's all that counts. Yeah. Got two more questions for her.
No problem.
One more is Tracy Morgan related, and that's it. Give us one crazy Tracy Morgan story. Stacy in Orlando.
Crazy Tracy Morgan story. You know, Tracy recently had a kidney transplant, and he's clean and sober now. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke any substances, and he's still crazy. He's still funny. He's still crazy, but he was crazier. He was crazier when he was that wild guy. You know, I remember we were shooting the pilot.
And that's more the Tracy you know.
That's the Tracy, yeah. Tracy I knew for 20 years. But we were shooting the pilot, and in the first episode, there was a scene done at a strip club in the Bronx. And I live in the Bronx. The strip club wasn't too far from my house. So we shot the strip club all day long, and the strippers were part of the scene. They were real strippers.
They recognized you?
No. It was a new show. It was a new show. So the show hadn't even aired yet. So I'm home. We had finished. We had wrapped for the day. I'm home. I got a 1 foot on the floor, 1 foot getting ready to get into bed, and I get a call. Yo, Kev, come back to the club. We hanging out. I'm like, you hanging out where? At the club we just shot at all day. So I'm like, well, I gotta go back because the show gets picked up and be hanging with this dude. It's good for us to bond. So I threw my clothes back on, and we went out and we hung out at the strip club, and then we went to another strip club, then we went to another strip club, and I could not hang with this guy. He was so...
You're trying your hardest probably too to hang with him.
He was so hard charging, I just could not.
That was probably just a normal day for him too.
That was normal. The normal old Tracy. Now he's another Tracy.
Now you have different stories.
Yeah.
One last question. You founded the Harlem famous Uptown Comedy Club. Give us some names of maybe some comics that passed through there that the listeners might recognize.
Wow, a lot of guys.
I'm sure you got a lot
of guys in hip hop comedy and urban comedy started the Uptown Comedy Club. Def Comedy Jam was a direct offshoot of my club. Offshoot of Uptown Comedy Club.
Does that in a way where they kind of took it from you, like the idea, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, they kind of took it.
Were you kind of cool always about it, like you are right now?
They kind of took it. They kind of took it. They took it, but it was
because you can't see the look when you said it.
Well, they took it. They took it, but it was one of those things where the hip hop. Russell Simmons was so big in hip hop. He brought something to the table that no one else could bring. Okay. As far as comedy, we would have just done it as a comedy show, and that would have been nice. But him putting so much of hip hop into it, made it different ingredients. But it came directly from the Uptown Comedy Club, and tons of comedians came through. Tracy Morgan started at my club, Uptown Comedy Club. Mike Epps came through. Flex Alexander from 101. Bill Bellamy. How'd
you even start that? What made you even,
Well, I was young. I was 20-something years old, and I was a party promoter. I promoted parties when I was in college, and I was in a fraternity, and my fraternity, Sigma Phi Rho, brown, white, and gold. I used to do these big fraternity parties in New York. So I'm 20-something years old, and I'm renting out the Jacob Javits Center or the Intrepid Museum, or the biggest clubs in New York. And it got to a point where we would do these parties, and we get a venue that holds 2,000 people, but 4,000 people would show up. So it got too big. There was always bum rushing. That's
a nice problem to have.
Well, it was a crazy problem, but it got to a point where the city started cracking down on us, making us get huge insurance policies. You have to hire at least 50 security guards.
Were they trying to push you out?
It's like making the situation so difficult to do that you finally have to give up.
Got it.
So after doing a series of these parties, and I'm 20-something years old, and I'm doing a party, and by the end of the night I'm trying to find enough bags to carry $150,000, and I'm wrapping it up in rubber bands. I don't even have enough bags to carry this money.
Another nice problem to have.
It was a nice problem, but it was stressful. It was very stressful. So my brother, who was a stand-up comic, he had done a show, and I went to enjoy the show. I bought a ticket for $20, but I had never seen black comedians perform in front of a black audience before, speaking freely. Because generally, the mainstream clubs would censor what a comic could say. And generally, black folks did not go to comedy clubs at that time.
You provided a whole new outlet.
Right. So I saw this for the first time, and I was enterprising, and I'm young, and I'm fearless, and I had a little money. I was like, hey, this is great. If I enjoyed this so much, I think everybody will enjoy this. I'm gonna, open a club, put it right in Harlem, let you guys come and do what you do, and I'll do the marketing. And that's
so you went in reverse. You started a comedy club and then became a comic.
Yeah, I became a comic because when the Def Jam era hit, I was taking guys who were doing stand-up comedy for 6 months, and I'm putting them on TV.
Getting development deals.
I'm getting them $5,000 a show, $10,000 a show, and I'm getting a percentage of it, but I'm getting a small percentage. I was like, I'm on the wrong end of this deal. And after years went by, I started watching so many people jump in the comedy game, but they were so whack. I mean, people were so whack. I'm seeing them on comedy
and you're better.
Well, I wasn't doing stand-up at the time, but I was like, I could be as whack as this guy. If he's successful at it, let me jump in.
And you're not even trying.
And I wasn't even trying. So I remember one time I produced a show at a college, and the guy, Flex Alexander, at some college, he was getting $5,000 for the show. We rode up there separately. His car broke down on the highway. The theater was packed, auditorium was packed. The producers were panicking. He was nowhere to be found. And the girl came to me and she said, "Could you go up and just tell some jokes? Could you start the show? I'll give you his $5,000. I didn't know how to tell jokes.
But
and
you
I had to turn that down.
What 5,000 looked
I
like.
knew what the money looked like, but I had to turn that money down because I was not a comedian. I didn't know how to tell any jokes. And I said, "I'm sorry, I can't do it because I don't know." But moments like that kept happening. And I was like, man, I got to jump in this game. But the thing is, a lot of guys are sloppy. A lot of guys' work ethic is sloppy when it comes to comedy. They think it's just about coming up and talking, or, but there's a structure to comedy, when you're asking people, and audiences are so savvy now. Everybody, if they're not the funny person, they know a funny person. So when they see you on stage, they're not going to take any shorts.
Not nowadays.
Yeah. And people won't just not laugh at you. People get mad at you.
If you're taking their money.
If you're taking their money and you're up there and you're not making them laugh, they are getting angry.
You're not
hostile.
funny, they hate you.
They hate you. So, but there's a work ethic. You have to come in with a bang, out with a boom. You got to give at least 6 laughs per minute. And the average comic now is giving 3 to 4 laughs per minute, but you can survive with 3 to 4 laughs per minute.
And if they're 3 or 4, they better be huge 3 to 4 laughs too.
But a lot of guys' work ethic is poor. And I always say that we need losers. We need losers in this game, because if losers didn't exist, then winners couldn't exist. So I need those guys to keep being whack, keep being sloppy with their game. So I can
makes everyone else strong too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time.
No,
Kevin.com,
thank you.
Brown.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming through.